Hi, I'm Zoe Melanie Oster, and I am a naturopath. So let me get my legal disclaimer out of the way. I am not an MD. I am not a DO. I am not providing anything I say should not be construed as official medical advice. Okay. Like I said, I am a naturopath, and that means that I focus on health and well-being and healing. So, having said that, today's subject is suppression. And let me start by saying that the body is really amazing in the way that we actually are able to heal ourselves. The most simple example, and very beautiful example, is just how we can get a simple cut on the finger. And we don't really have to do much at all. We make sure it's clean, might put a band-aid on it, and it will basically heal itself. And of course, there are times when we experience some kind of physical trauma, a kind of cut that bleeds too much, would need stitches, broken bone, all kinds of things. There are always instances where, yes, we need help. We need to go to a medical facility. We need outside help. And I'm not against any other form of medicine. It all has its place. But where it doesn't help as much in the long run is where it suppresses. So basically, going back to the body healing really well on its own, all of those processes basically are disrupted when it's suppressed. And it's often the go-to for the conventional medical establishment at this time. And it is in other places too. And it's when we have these natural healing processes, such as healing a cut, or just times when we have symptoms we don't like, it's basically something that makes us uncomfortable. And so we tend to back away from it, or say, I don't want to feel that, so I'm going to take something so that I don't feel that. And we're very much conditioned to do it. And it's understandable, really. We don't want headaches. We don't want a fever. We don't want that joint pain, mental health issues or rashes, things like that. Again, any of these can get to the point where you do need help. Let me, not say don't get help, but we've been conditioned to just get rid of them at any sign of them happening. And they're often a sign of several things. They're ultimately a sign that something's out of balance in the body. And they're often a sign that it's time to slow down and let the body do what it does really well. And of course, we're in a society that really doesn't do much to allow for downtime and alone time and health and recuperation time. So yes, like I said, modern medical, conventional medicine, however you want to define it, does a lot of suppression. A lot of it is in the form of a drug. And what a lot of them end up doing is, through suppression, is the equivalent of putting just a piece of black tape on top of that little engine indicator light saying check engine. You just don't see it. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong underneath. And if we were to do that same thing, if we just put a piece of tape over that light on the car, the chances of that car running the same way within 10,000 miles, and I'm exaggerating, I'm going quite far, but it's not going to happen. And what's so weird is that we really don't know what's going on underneath if we just suppress symptoms. What often happens is that if you're not addressing what caused the symptom in the first place, it's going to continue in some way or form. So that could mean that, yes, maybe for a headache, the aspirin works for a while, or whatever pain over-the-counter pain medication you take. It works for a while, and then after a while, it doesn't work. It's because the underlying issue, imbalance, is not being addressed. So it gets worse and it doesn't work as well, and then there may be a need to want to add a higher level of intervention, a different type of drug, things like that. But that does not change that there's something going on. There's something that is out of balance. As well, it can become a completely new symptom. The body is trying to process something, realizes it can't, so it finds another pathway, some other chemical process, another organ might be involved. And the most, I don't know about the most, but something that's from my educational background, I think most people I went to school with heard this story a lot as well, is that it's common for a child that gets eczema and is told to put, or the parent is told to put hydrocortisone cream on the rash and it goes away. It's very common for the child to develop asthma. Now, I haven't had a direct confirmation from an MD or DO, but I have heard that it's to the point where some doctors, MDs, doctors, will almost give the parent an inhaler along with the cream because they know that the kid's going to come back in. That pediatrician knows that parent's going to come back and the kid's going to have different issues. But there's no correlation of, okay, what else can we do other than add the drug for the new symptom? Whereas my viewpoint is, let's find out what's causing the skin problem so that we can resolve that and the body can be in a healthier state, and the chances of that child getting asthma is heavily reduced. So, this is also something that is done with supplements. It's not just the drug you get from your practitioner that you go to. Basically, if you do the same thing with a supplement, if you're just going to mask the symptom, keep it from going away, you're not dealing with the underlying cause, that's not going to be as helpful in the long run either. It might have fewer side effects. And there might be instances where it's valid. And there are instances even when all of these drugs are valid. Everything has a time and a place. And I'm saying there are many times and places where we can actually do better and really work towards a very much healthier state. So, like I said, it's not good to take all the supplements or all the drugs at the same time because you were doing the suppression. But at the same time, it's not good to go off the drug or even the supplement if we haven't created a healthier state in the body that can handle it. So when I'm saying these things, please understand that I'm not saying to go off the supplement. I'm not saying to go off the drug. Please do not go off of any recommendations from your doctor, your MD, your DO, without consulting them. I'm not giving medical advice, as I've said. What I'm saying is that there is a better way, and it can be done by getting yourself to a higher state of health first. So, and this is typically what I do with people, and I do it in 3 particular ways, 3 main steps. The first step is to nourish. I call it nourishment. You get the good stuff in the body. That is on every single level. That's mind, body, spirit, physical, food, all of the above. You get the good stuff in, and you identify what isn't so good, and you don't put as much or any of that in. The second thing is working with what the body hasn't been able to process and is still stuck in the body. We tend to call them toxins, so I'm going to use that word. It's removing toxins from the body, and in a very gentle way, working with the body to remove them when possible. And the third is to enhance vitality. Just get the body to a much more dynamic state. And just by doing those things, it's very much possible to get the body to a very healthy state, healthier than it was in. And that can help, and often symptoms will go away. And that's because the body is actually in balance. It doesn't need to say, hey, there's something going on here. We're trying to work with this. It's actually, okay, we're good. And it's just a much more dynamic way to be. So, as I've said, that's the biggest thing about suppression, and that is just doesn't have to be the case. And that's the biggest thing that I work with people is, where can we stop suppressing and where can we enhance health in a very dynamic way. So like I said, my name is Melanie Oster. I run Sunrise Natural Journey, and I work with people who have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and other chronic illnesses. And I work with them for a period of at least 12 weeks, and we work with these things. We identify the cause of things, and we go in depth in many different ways to identify the cause and to get to better health. It's a lot more dynamic than it may sound, but actually suppression in and of itself is very simple. You just get rid of. We're doing something very different. So if you have any questions, if you'd like a free consultation, please let me know. Get in touch with me. If you'd like to share anything this has sparked a memory or something you want to share, please do that too. And thank you for listening, and have a great and wonderful day.